and therefore it was intended for this time that the entire teaching, rather than just parts, shall be brought and no longer recorded by entrusted literates who have, since time immemorial, falsified everything beyond recognition, but that instead the last proclaimer of no academian's line will record in his own hand the Goblet of Truth and further parts of the teaching of truth, the teaching of spirit, the teaching of life, and reprocess it and disseminate it worldwide with the help of his loyal supporters. This has now happened, and an overwhelming work has been created that is of an enormous density and complexity, not only in its whole but also in every single verse. Word for word, it stands as chiseled from granite, and every letter of it breathes truth, creational magnitude and beauty, and the laws and recommendations of life. Even if anyone approaches the book with the intention of only reading it without really studying it, the book breathes true and real life, and it is capable not only of showing us the current dark and labyrinthine status of our thinking and our world, but also of permitting us an insight into the paradise of true and really lived humanity by showing what the human being is per se and how he or she should be, how he or she should handle freedom, and how to act in a particular situation. Never, however, is the reader cajoled or growled in a schoolmasterly way. Instead, what is created strikes the true heart of life and human present existence in a clear and targeted manner, and it makes no difference whether the person is from this undulating planet or presently exists in the depths of the universe on some unknown world. The words are solely directed towards universal human nature and towards who and what and how this being is and has to be. Word for word and verse for verse, the reader who is so inclined comes to grasp the beauty and the overwhelming task that humanity must solve during its long evolutionary time until forming and developing its consciousness to such an extent as to advance in knowledge, wisdom, love, logic, intellect, and rationality, so that its spirit form will be able to unfold its power until no longer requiring a human material shell and find its further way into the light of creational beauty and harmony without the help of a material consciousness, not alone, but in connection and in combination with innumerable other spirit forms who have to take the same path and have already done so. Bringing to life this path in our consciousness that is endlessly long for our thinking, and yet so short for the spirit form, not only raises our feeling as a person, but it also depends on the knowledge and the certainty that we as human beings are interlinked with one another just as much as with all other existences throughout the universe and beyond. This consciousness, the cognition of true universal love, is not quickened and strengthened with great and ostentatious words, but with the simple and brazen words of humility and true, factual instruction. The Goblet of Truth is not only a source of knowledge, truth, and love, but also a straightforward handbook, textbook, and factual book for everyone who is asking themselves what they need to pay attention to in life and how they have to behave. Therefore, this work is not only a wonderful book to read with inexhaustible wisdom, but it also represents a recipe book for life in the true sense, a book that shows people how life is to be lived, what it is made of, and what needs to be borne in mind to make life a success, without, however, patronizing the person in the choice of ingredients and in the procedure of the art of living, or curtailing and restricting the person's freedom. It simply makes known the indicators by means of which success or failure in leading one's life can be detected and corrected, because the conditions already exist concealed in every human being. Balance, equanimity, connectedness, love, inner peace, joy of living, happiness, and satisfaction are the result of good, correct, and successful creational natural evolutive work on oneself. Whereas any form of Gewalt, degeneracy, dissatisfaction, or other negative inclinations or even degeneracies of character are signs that the course must be corrected and leveled out. In this way, the Goblet of Truth gradually puts our thinking on the right course when we open ourselves to the power and the profound wisdom of its words, and take it and use it as that for which it is intended, namely a true help in life and as teaching of life. teaching of spirit and teaching of truth. The following preface contributions by core group members of the Fiqh show that the words of the Goblet of Truth are able to unfold their momentous and significant effect even within only a few verses, impressing their readers to the core, stirring them up and touching a chord that they had perhaps not been looking for in themselves. When they were entrusted with the task of honoring Billy's new book in a few phrases, most of the respondents only had access to 35 verses from the 28th chapter of the book, in response to which they expressed themselves as follows: I came to know Billy at the end of 1978. At that time, it was impossible for me to understand the full consequences of this. It is merely a fact that my previous life changed completely for the positive, and I gradually started to free myself from the wallflower existence. At a stroke, I found many people with the same ideas, with whom I could discuss all those topics that were and are so important for me. I am referring to relationships between people as well as living together and evolving together. I have not regretted this step to this day, and I am happy and glad to be an energetic member in the core group of 49. Thereby giving effective support to the best of my ability to the edifice of thought of the Fiqh, and therefore the mission of the Prophet of the new time. Madeleine B. Or truly, only the type of your conscious or unconscious volition, that for which you decide yourself, is decisive for the interaction and therefore also for your destiny, because all the innumerable fine structured and semi-material vibrations with which you are connected permit everything that is sent out by your thoughts and feelings to flow back to yourself, and it does not matter what you happen to want and what you create with your volition as causes. Goblet of Truth, Chapter 28, Verse 120. In other words, a human being who is searching for the truth will find a group of human beings who are seeking the same through a happy foreordination. He briefly made the firm decision to join these valuable human beings, to lend the entire earthly humankind and the planet that is still greatly maltreated, and also for its healing. Gilbert Vautre. For about 66 years 2008. Beam has been fulfilling his unique task and mission with indescribable and exemplary forbearance and love. Numerous explanations and explications of the teaching of spirit bear witness to his proverbial stamina and great patience for the human beings of earth. In the face of my own occasional discouragement because of the obstinacy, irrationality, prejudice and stupid allegations by the antagonists, he is due all my thanks for all his supporting words of encouragement and consolation. They have always been a source of enduring learning and strength for me during many years in freedom and my decision to go my own way, to recognize my callings, to train my abilities and my performance, and to invest in the fulfillment of our common task. As long as the blood flows in my veins, as long as my heart continues to beat, my consciousness is untroubled and my senses perform good services, my work and all my efforts should and will be aimed at honoring his life's work in an appropriate way. Hans-Georg Lanzendorfer. The thing that convinced me that Fiqh and what is told and experienced here was and is indeed the truth, is that above all the emphasis is placed on self-responsibility, and everything that is explained by Billy is logical and comprehensible. Equally, during all those years I have been able to know Billy and the people here, and I know with absolute certainty that this is my place and path. The knowledge and the associated possibilities opened up to us by Billy and the Pleiaren are simply unique and overwhelming, although I often think that we are by no means aware of the import of this mission. I know one thing with absolute certainty: there is on earth no other place where the teaching is so truthful, consistent, comprehensible for everyone and logical as here at Fiqh, and the things we are doing here will one day bear fruit so that humankind will in the end find its way back to being human in the real and true sense, even if this will take a very, very long time.